I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving! The show goes on! This is my home!
I did not have sexual relations with her.
Say hello to my little friend! It's a man, baby!
Fuck you, retard! Oh, behave. Yeah.
Why so serious?
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
I am Iron Man. I love it when a plan comes together.
Welcome to the first ever Man Show. I know there's a lot of Man Show titles out there, but this is going to be the one you're going to want to go to first and foremost. I'm Cav Manning along with the other manly man. He's got a big beard and a lot of hair, so it's very manly. It's Billy Body.
Hey guys, yeah, we sort of have the credentials to do the show, seeing as we've pretty much done the show for so many years, and we're now just doing it minus the wrestling. So hopefully that would give us a little bit more clout and credibility.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's going to be us bullshitting, and it's going to be a lot of sports and whatever the hell we want to talk about, basically. What's coming up? Who's our guest this week, Billy?
Yeah, later on in the show, we'll be bringing on the guys from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, Ryan Kramer, and stand-up comedian Sean Green, who's just gone from strength to strength in the last few years, getting bigger and bigger, doing more and more shit. So we'll be talking to both those two guys. Thought it would be appropriate to start with them, seeing as these guys have employed me for 5.5 years over at the Sports Gambling Podcast. Their podcast has got absolutely massive. There's a ton of sponsors on there. There's a ton of listeners on there. Obviously, that's why they have a ton of sponsors. And I do believe that they do the best NFL show each week, especially in relation to gambling. But we'll be doing our own NFL here each and every week, which we'll be moving on to in a minute. But just to let you guys know, it's a very heavy NFL show this week. Usually we will be talking about our usual shit, like stuff in the news, social media, girls. We'll be moving on to like other sports. We'll be telling stories, just the same stuff that you're familiar with on Wrestling Therapy, without the desperate need to integrate the wrestling. Obviously, we'll still be doing stuff over on the dirty sheets. But yeah, it's going to be pretty much as that show was for those of you coming across from Wrestling Therapy, without the need to shoehorn anything in. So it's just going to be legitimate conversation, how us guys talk normally. And believe it or not, me and Cav don't just always message each other and talk about wrestling. In fact, we barely do, unless something fucking drastic happens, which is never.
Yeah.
But throughout this time of the year, it's mainly going to be about the football. So you will be getting at least 30 minutes of football on this show every week until we get out of the NFL season. So if you're not an NFL fan, I suggest you listen to the other 30 minutes on the show. But obviously it's all going to be covered in one chunk, and that chunk just so happens to start now because it's going to be all football from here, right?
Yeah, so, right before we get into football, because our guests come in about 15 or 12 minutes, something like this, they're coming up, scheduled for the show. I wanted to mention something before we get into our football picks and they come on. So for work this week, tomorrow actually, I have to drive. I'm in San Jose, California, like San Francisco-ish for those who don't know. NorCal, as they say, Northern California. I have to drive up to the top of California tomorrow for work, like Eureka and like close to the border of Oregon. So I really don't want to do this, right? And I look and I see one of my customers is in a place called Bluff Creek. Now, if you have any history and know of certain things, the first ever Patterson-Gimlin film. Have you ever heard of Patterson-Gimlin film?
No.
They filmed that first ever film that you always see of Bigfoot walking through the woods. That grainy that film that you always see of Bigfoot.
Right. Okay.
It's right next to where I have to go. So tomorrow I'm going up there, and I asked, it's like an Indian reservation. And I asked them, I go, oh, you guys, he goes, yeah, it's like 15 miles away. And he said 6 miles from the store is a Bigfoot National Museum. So this is going to be what I do for work all day tomorrow. I'm going to be at the fucking Bigfoot Museum. So
Are you into Bigfoot?
I love Bigfoot. I love all that shit. So because I was like, there's got to be stores over there where they sell all kind of Bigfoot shit. So I suggest if anyone ever want to watch stuff on Bigfoot, you go on Netflix, Discovering Bigfoot. That's what I tell you for your plane ride tomorrow to Vegas, Billy. Download Discovering Bigfoot. And there's a guy who like fucking stayed in the fucking woods and filmed this fucking thing. Whole family of them and shit like this. So that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. So I'll report on our show here next week how it was. So I just want to put that out there for next week's teaser.
But actually, next week might be a bit of a longer show because I will be on here as well, reporting on my trip to Vegas and New York. So, and I'll be talking to the guys about that because they're going to be out there. It's the first time I'm meeting Sean and Ryan since working for them for the last 5.5 years or so. So I'm going to be meeting them out in Vegas in a couple of days, and then I'm going to be seeing our boy Nick as well, because I'm going to Madison Square Garden for the wrestling shows. But that'll all be actually covered separately. So next week there'll be a 9/11 show on this feed. For those of you that listen to the first one over on the day sheets, we'll be repeating that almost, revisiting that in a separate show. And then there'll be a show over on the day sheets where me and Cav look at those MSG shows. So there's going to be loads about my trip there. But the other details in terms of what I do in Vegas and stuff, I'll be reporting over here. So
all right,
lots to talk about next week.
So before they come on, let's get our picks in for this week, for week one.
Before we do that, let's get our picks in for the whole thing, and then we'll do week one.
Okay, so how do you want to do it for the whole entire thing? As in, do you want to go into the AFC Championship, NFC Championship, who's going to the Super Bowl and who's going to win? Is that what you want to do?
Let's just give our divisional picks, and then we'll cover week one.
Okay.
So I'll start with the AFC East. I'll do some odds as well. I've got Patriots 1-5, Jets 5-1, Bills 8-1, and Dolphins at 40-1. I mean, these odds kind of give you a reflection as well, without us having to talk about it too much, in terms of how teams have gone in the off season. Because obviously the Dolphins were not here as being the significantly worst team once we signed off last year.
Yeah, I have Dolphins dead last in the entire league. That's for sure. And I have the Patriots winning this division, of course, very easily. And I even think they're going to be 14-2. I only have them losing 2 games. And it's back-to-back losses, actually. I have them losing at Baltimore, and then there's a bye week, and then I have them losing at Philadelphia. I think the Baltimore one's just a bite in the ass one. You know, it's like everybody gets bit somehow, some way. And so I have them losing only 2. But if you look at their schedule, you're like, you know what? They could do very well. Their defense is better than it was last year. And, you know, Brady's still Brady until he shows me otherwise. The only reason I have them beating the Chiefs is they're home.
What a hot take there, Cav. Like, the Patriots could do well.
Yes, you know what? Because everyone always says, oh, this is the year they're finally done. Because who picks them anymore to win the Super Bowl? You really don't. You always go,
Dude,
all right, that's enough.
they're even money. They're
Jesus.
even money to reach the championship game.
That's
and they're
fucking
3-1
crazy.
They're 3-1 to win the AFC. So I mean, the championship game just involves them qualifying, and then winning that on the wild card, not the wild card weekend. Sorry, the second weekend. I fucking always forget what that one's called. The wild card round, and then what's the one
Divisional.
the week after? Sorry, divisional. Yeah. So they only have to win divisional game, and that's at even money. To be honest, I'd be making that my biggest bet of the year, because they obviously win this division. They obviously don't play wild card weekend, and they'll probably end up with a home game because they'll be at least the number 1 and 2 seed. You're basically betting here for them to be the 1 or 2 seed and to win their game at home.
Yeah, they don't have Gronk's gone, and that was like his major thing, and it's like, doesn't matter. It's just another guy slides in. It's startling, and you wish. It's like, I'm so jealous that it's that easy, but
yeah, it's only two guys. It's only two guys who make a difference. It's the coach and the quarterback. That's it with that play. It's always been that way with them.
Yeah, very much. Which
it's not even worth extensively
no.
talking about them, because it's just like okay, it's going to be the Patriots, and the whole podcast is almost like, who else?
That is true. What division you want to go to next for who's going to win?
Next up, I have the AFC North.
Okay.
Where I've got Cleveland and the Steelers as the joint 6-4 favorites, 3-1 in Baltimore and 20-1 on the Bengals.
I have Baltimore. I mean, I have Cleveland winning that division, and I have them at 11-5, and then I have coming right behind them is 10-6 as Steelers.
So you're on this Cleveland bandwagon then.
To a point, they were good last year. It's one more year underneath, and they got some great new players, including getting the guy from New York over here, Beckham. So it's not a far fetch if they stay healthy that they could do it. I'm not saying they're going Super Bowl or this and that, but I surely think they could win the division because everybody else seems to be a bit of on a downstroke. And look at all the guys that the Steelers lost. So it's theirs to kind of fucking lose. It's the Browns' division to lose.
So next up, we got the South, and we've got the Texans as 6-4 favorites. Jacksonville 5-2, 3-1 on the Titans, and 5-1 on the Colts. And just to let you know, a few weeks ago, Texans and Colts were joint 2-1 favorites.
It's funny. I have, and this could fluctuate, maybe 1 or 2 wins, maybe, but I have Houston winning this division with 8-8. And it's like I have the rest of the division, everybody's just shit. Jacksonville 6 wins, Indy 5 wins, Tennessee 4 wins. That's how I have it.
Yeah, I got Houston winning this, and I gave it out as an official pick a few weeks ago. So
they loaded up with a lot of trading picks and shit like that, which is funny because the coach is also the general manager. So he's throwing away draft picks well, if I don't win, I'm fired, so who cares if I have drafts?
Right, but I mean, I think this team are ready to win and ready to do better. I think a key thing is going to be Watson improving. He didn't improve last year. He was a big deal the year before, and we didn't see that big improvement from him last year. And I wonder if it's just you've kind of seen what he's about, and he's not going to make any progress. This is a key year for him because last year he kind of got away with it because he came out as a big star out of nowhere, and he got that injury. And then last year, he wasn't the same player.
Yeah,
so
it takes a year to come back from that, yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing for the, oh my God, his name's popped right out of my head. The 49ers quarterback.
Garoppolo.
That's it. It's the same for him in terms of he was a big deal, kind of saved them when they were real shit. And he looked like the next, the second coming. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, I saw stuff like, oh, maybe you should have kept him instead of Brady.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw all of that. And he turned out not to be all that. So he's the key year for him as well when we get to that division. Where are we up to? The West? Is that right?
We are at the West. AFC West.
Chiefs are the favorites, 8-11. Chargers 13-8. 10-1 Broncos. 12-1 Raiders.
That is the order I have it. Kansas City to win this division. But still say San Diego. Los Angeles right behind them, and then the Raiders cleaning up division with 5 wins.
Yeah, I almost agree with you on all of that. Although I do think this will be apart from the AFC North, because I think for me the South, I think it's Houston, which I think Andrew Luck has kind of dictated that.
Mm-hmm.
The East is obviously the Patriots. I don't know where I'm going to go with the North. It's going to need to take a good look at Cleveland, and then how effective the Steelers are, and the Ravens if they're any good. So that one's really tight. This one for me is a 2-horse race, because I do think that the Chargers could take this. It just depends on how the on Mahomes, because he's going to have that a repeat of the season that he had last year. And obviously, again, this is a very tactical game, and people do get worked out. So there'll be a playbook now on Mahomes, and I think he'll find it more difficult to have another MVP season this year.
I agree with that.
All right, so the NFC East, we've got the Eagles as the even money favorites, Cowboys 11-8, and then massive odds on Redskins 8-1 and Giants 14-1.
Yeah, I go in that order as well. I go with the Eagles only losing 3 games, and then it goes to Dallas, who I think will be 11-5, and then goes down the list. And I think the Giants are only going to win 1 game, and that's against a team that I don't think is going to win any, and that's the Dolphins.
You know what's funny? I asked Boy Wonder, Nick, but I don't think he's too into the NFL. He's more into his baseball. I said to him, how big is the Jets-Giants game? Because it comes up on the schedule. And I know they've started to play it in preseason because it does well for ticket sales. Yeah. But you probably know more about it. How big is the game between those two? The scene is going to happen in the season. I mean, because...
In the season, it'll be better. I mean, preseason, you go, who gives a shit?
No, of course, yeah.
Yeah, you get the bragging rights, but it's not the hatred. It's not even the hatred of Mets-Yankees. That's more so. And over here, Oakland, San Francisco, that's hatred. And that's just across a fucking bridge. So it's not
so
that it's always
it's more of a friendly occasion, is it?
No, I mean I won't go crazy with that, but it's always the Giants are the stars of the town, the same way the Yankees are the stars of the town. The little brothers are the Mets and the Jets. It's shit like that. They're not the main, even when they're shit. They're not the main team. It's still a Giants town. The Jets are still it's kind of they laugh at the Jets. So it's more important for the Jets to fucking win this. But then the Giants fans will go, well, we're in a rebuilding year. It's not like you beat us at a good time.
No, I think the Jets will have a better record than the Giants this year.
Oh, yeah.
We'll cover the North last. Saints 1-2, Falcons 3-1, Panthers 5-1, Bucks 9-1. This is the South.
I have the Saints winning it as well. And then I have Atlanta right behind them. I think Atlanta will have a good year. I'm always seems to be high on Atlanta. And it's it finally has to fucking happen. I don't know. I think they're past the hangover, finally.
Well, they've changed the offensive coordinator there as well. So
they needed to. So I have them almost the same. I have them the same record as the Saints, but by tiebreakers, not first place. And then dead last, I have Tampa Bay barely winning 3 games.
All right, so before we move on to our division, we got the West next. Rams are 4-6, Seahawks 5-2, 49ers 5-1, Cardinals 20-1.
I have the Rams winning this, followed by Seattle, and then going to Arizona and the 49ers winning a whole 2 games. I have them winning the first 2 and losing all the rest.
That's interesting, because there'll be a lot of hype around them if they do that. They win the first 2.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the NFC North.
Yeah.
You guys are the favorites, 6-4.
Mm-hmm.
Packers and Vikings joint second favorites, 2-1, and Detroit 9-1. I see a lot of people picking Minnesota for this division.
I don't know why. It's what for? They're a fucking wreck, and Kirk Cousins shit.
Yeah, we'll talk about that with the guys when they come on, because Cousins has an interesting primetime record in terms of TV games. I think the Bears win this division, to be honest.
I mean, realistically, they should, and that's not me even just thinking with my heart. It's that defense is fucking insane,
Yeah,
and it's another
gonna be
year
down
with
to-
Trubisky with
It's
the
going to be down to
coach.
Trubisky. It's going to be down to
Yeah.
a case of whether he's actually legit
Mhm.
or whether he's the thing that's holding him back. I just don't think
Yeah.
the defense is going to digress. We did see an elite Jags defense digress last year because I just think they were like, what's the fucking point? With balls there and just
Like
you're
one
just-
guy
they're-
left the
they're-
Bears
they're on-
defense. Only one guy left, and that was Amos, who went to the Packers. But meanwhile, Clinton Dix went to the Bears. So it was
The
like,
thing is that
well,
the things with the Jags is that they sort of didn't play around it because Balls is always throwing the ball, so the defense was on all the time.
yeah,
Whereas with the Bears, you don't have the defense on the pitch for like fucking 2/3 of the game. So at least they actually do get to rest because they have a running game, even though they don't put up a lot of points. But you'd have to think he would improve. You'd have to think they do put the ball in his hand a bit more this season, and that's either going to be the thing that takes them to a 12-4 team, or they end up digressing to like an 8-8 team.
it's all on him. It is all on
But
him.
the thing is that I would rather take the chance on them as opposed to us who have got a new coach in who primarily runs. So actually, like the thing that we're going to be doing is putting the ball in Rodgers' hands less. If his previous looking at his previous way of playing is to remain consistent, then we're going to be throwing the ball less, which is not what we want to do. He's loaded up on defenders, which we did need over the summer.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to expect with this team. It could be he could do all the right things where we're less reliant on Rodgers, and Rodgers is still going to be great when he needs to, and the defense is going to keep the points off. Then that's going to be great, and all of a sudden we will get better. But I'm not too sure if I like what I'm seeing. Then at the same time, it's the camaraderie looks good. Like all these videos you're seeing of the Packers and all their fancy dress shit and all that. I just kind of feel that.
Yeah, you never know
if
with
they
a
got-
new coach. You just never have a
No.
clue until that goes
Yeah.
about,
If you got the coach sacked, which they did,
Mhm.
Rodgers did single-handedly, you got to play now. You got to fucking perform. Like you got to show that. All right, so we lost the poor guy's job.
Yeah.
Now we got to be legit. We got to show that he was the problem. Because if they end up like 7-9, this team haven't had a fucking winning year for 3 years.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? You wouldn't think so.
Well, no one talks about it enough, but they haven't had a win. They haven't had a winning season. Like everybody talks about Rodgers and puts him up in the conversation, but I don't see Breeze doing this badly. I don't see Brady ever having a season this bad. Like he's had 2 bad seasons. He's almost out of the conversation for me now.
And he was hurt the
In
whole
terms of-
entire year, though, last year. From week 1, he was fucked up for quite a while. So-
Yeah, I understand that, but there's a lot of pressure on them now in terms of almost. It's weird because there's pressure on them because of the past, but it's almost like you can almost turn around and if they end up like fucking 5-11, you look at it and go, "Oh, this has been coming. This team have been digressing every year. They need a whole rebuild and blah blah blah." So there's an excuse already there for them as well. But I think they need to turn up. So we'll move on to that. We'll transition onto that smoothly and just go straight onto our game, where you guys are the 3-point favorites to beat the Packers in the opening game.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I'm not a guy who's always like homer, like, oh, Bears win, Bears win. I'm usually the opposite way because I'm so used to them being bad. And I'm always like, I'm like a beaten wife when it comes to this game, and it takes years off my fucking life because it's always the same story. I mean, if you could write a story, it was last year's opening game where they were up by 100 and fucking lost. It's just it's very expected. But thinking like a normal person, I am picking the Bears to win this game.
Yeah, I think the Bears win this game and they probably like cover this number. You just don't know though.
You don't. It's with the two of them. You don't. But I'm like, and I'd like to say they're home. It's the first game of the year. It's their 100th year that they've been in existence. They should win the fucking game. But easier said than done.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet this game. I mean, the thing
No,
I know
I don't
will
want to
bet this
either.
game because I haven't bet any football for like 8 months. I know I will bet this. I know I will bet this game
7.
regardless.
You got it.
And I'll be sitting there watching this at the fucking Westgate in Vegas. There's absolutely no way on earth that I stay off this game. Panthers versus Rams, which is a good game to start with. They got the Panthers as the underdogs here, getting just 2 points.
Yeah, I would go with the Rams, even though it's west traveling east. The only reason that doesn't scare me as much is it's because of the first game. If it was later on, I might worry about being bit, but they could be there well ahead of time waiting for this game to happen, so it's not one of those goofy travel days. So I'll take the Rams.
I disagree with you there. I think I'm going to take the Panthers. I like them at home. I think they're going to challenge for this AFC South at least. Sorry, not the AFC South. Sorry, the NFC South.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll challenge for that at least this season, and I think they could be a playoff team as well. I think we could get 3 teams coming out of the South as a playoff, which is going to hurt the Saints in terms of being the number 1 seed. I think. Mm-hmm. So I think if they're going to win this, they're going to need to do it on the road at some point. But I think that there'll be some hangover here as well for the Rams. Okay, so the Browns versus the Titans, where the Browns are only 4.5-point favorites in week 1. So I kind of like them to get off to a decent start here and sort of vindicate some of the hype.
I do too. I like them to win this too, and then you worry, God forbid, you imagine if they lost this game, the sky would fall. It would be, oh my God, maybe they aren't this fucking team. And maybe that snaps them too if it's even close.
Yeah, what's close though? I mean, if they cover the spread, the gamblers are happy. So, 4 points is good enough.
Sure. I mean, just as fan-wise people, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got the Kansas City Chiefs going into the Jags, where Jags are the 3.5-point underdogs here.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting game because, you get to see if the last season the Jags was just a very bad season. They got new quarterback here. They're at home. One thing I pointed out here was the total is so high on this game, and that's got to be the Chiefs that are bringing it up because I don't see 52 points here. So I wanted just to make a quick mention of that.
Jesus, yeah, that's and especially there's hurricane weather, all that kind of stuff. I picked Chiefs to win this game. I don't believe in Foles until I see Foles win not in an Eagle uniform.
Right. I don't know where to go with this one. I really don't know where to go with this one. I think I like the total, definitely, but the game is tough. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to, agree with you originally, but a lot of stuff can change. I don't recommend big bets in week 1 or 2 unless it's on the teams that are reliable every year. There's a game coming up later which I like, so we'll talk about that then. It's a couple actually. Dolphins and the Ravens, where the Dolphins are getting 7 points at home to the Ravens. I think that might be too many.
Week 1 is always rough when it's all this kind of shit, but I mean, I'm picking the Ravens to win this, obviously, because I don't think the Dolphins are going to win a game this year. And it'll be interesting with who's left on that team. They've gotten rid of everyone. So, and they're not even starting Rosen anymore. It's ridiculous. So I'll still take the Ravens. I think the Dolphins might come out hot and be like, oh, we're going to prove everyone wrong until they get smashed in the face and then start losing bad. And then it's, oh, we are shit.
Interesting game here. Vikings against the Falcons, where the Vikings are minus 4.5-point favorites. This is a good game to start out with because you think one of these teams would get through to the playoffs, but you're really going to see who's who here earlier on because there's going to be a bad loss for someone.
See, I could see that look on fucking Ryan's face, like, oh, what happened? Because we've seen it too recently. But I don't trust the Vikings still, and I think the Falcons, like I said earlier, will be pretty good this year. So I'm picking the Falcons.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Vikings because this is for me. This is very much a team that can be 7-1 at home and then 1-7 on the road.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good advantage at home, much like you think Denver would have as well, but for very different reasons. There's just an advantage of playing constantly at home in Minnesota, but and the stats support that as well. So I'm going to take them at home blindly for a bit, and fade them on the road, and then obviously fade Cousins on TV as well. But when I factor all that in with the fact that he has a significant amount of TV games, I'm not sure how many, but I don't think this team will get to the playoffs. I think maybe neither team will get to the playoffs. It's possible. Two teams that won't get to the playoffs are the Jets and the Bills. They're playing each other. Jets are the 3-point favorites at home.
I am picking the Jets to win this game just because they're home.
Jets did some good trades, didn't they? They did some good business.
It's always weird because it's the Jets, but their quarterback is going to be good, Sam Darnold. So I think he could get back. He could get going here because it was his first year last year, and you know how that goes with the rookie quarterbacks. But I think he could make a step this year.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have them quite comfortably finishing second in their division. So, and Le'Veon Bell's gone there as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a much better team than it's been for a long time. Moving on, let's have a look where we're at. Jets. Philadelphia Eagles and the Redskins. This is a game I like here. The Eagles are the 8-point favorites over the Skins.
Only 8.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you think that's not? What do you?
I think they're going to beat the fucking piss out of them. I think this is going to be fucking ugly.
Yeah, statement. I have this down as a statement game as well to start with.
Very much. With the quarterbacks on the other side, with the Redskins, I think they're at Philly. Oh, I think this is let's put up some points and let's shut them all down on the other side.
Yeah, I think this later on in the year we're going to be seeing the Eagles sort of had a little bit of a hangover last year from winning. Mm-hmm. But I think if it's the same, but I think even then they still almost they got through. They're still a team to beat the Bears, so they can still turn it on when they want. And I think when we see them at their best, we're going to start seeing spreads in games like this later on in the season of like 13 points, things like that, just under 2 touchdowns. I don't think they're going to be staying at 8 points, and I think they're lucky to maybe get it here on week 1. This is a really good bet, I think. The Chargers and the Colts, where the Chargers are only 6.5-point favorites. This actually moved from started at 3, and then it went to 8 after the news of Andrew Luck, and now it's back at 6.5. I'm still going to take it here.
Yeah, I take the Chargers here too. It's until the Colts show me otherwise. I don't. I think they're done because when Andrew Luck wasn't in there, it's a different team completely.
No, he's very much like the same way we have Rodgers. They're very reliant on him, and there isn't too much else. I mean, I actually think, to be honest, there's more at the Colts than there is at the Packers without the quarterback, but there's still not a lot, which is my point. Next up, Seattle laying 9.5 against the Bengals.
I would go with Seattle on this. They're at home.
Yeah,
I think they're going to be pretty good this year, and Russell Wilson's always just good. Even when they were supposed to be bad, they were good.
What we got next? Arizona Cardinals against Detroit, where Cardinals are getting 2.5 points. I thought the Cardinals did some business where they improved in the summer. Obviously, it doesn't reflect here on the odds for week 1.
Yeah, this is a rough one. Even though I picked the Cardinals to win this, it's because they're home. I think if they were in Detroit, I wouldn't have. But I think Murray's going to be running around like crazy, showing some stuff. Detroit should send like the whole house at him all the time, but they don't have a house to send. So, but I'll still pick the Cardinals, but I wouldn't go crazy.
So up next, you got the Cowboys laying 7 points at home to the Giants.
I think this is pretty an easy one. I think the Cowboys should easily handle the Giants.
They always have a tough game, though, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, division is a little tough. I could see them winning by 7, though, too. And it's like, well, shit, that's not the full, need 7.5, one of those things. But I wouldn't have enough faith in the Giants to hang. Nah.
I think they need to like pass it around here because the Giants have got a lot of youth now at the back. If they don't let Saquon Barkley do anything in this game, I can't see how the Giants score any points. So I think the total here, 45, I think it'll go under that because I just don't see the Giants putting up any points. I think this could be something like 21-7, something like that, something low. But yeah, the cover comes in. There's no doubt in my mind who wins this. It's just all about the number. The San Francisco 49ers going to Tampa is a pick 'em. But you said earlier you had San Francisco winning their first two, so obviously you have them here.
Yeah, I pick the 49ers to win this game. I don't think Tampa's that fucking good at all. So I think I think the 49ers win this game. But yeah, it depends which Garoppolo shows up. I mean, the guy threw 5 interceptions in a row in practice. So, I could see that, but I just don't think highly of Tampa. I think it's more of a reflection of Tampa than it is of San Francisco for me.
For me, I can't take an average team on the road on week 1. I'm going to go with Tampa here. I'm not expecting much from the 49ers. I didn't have them at 2 wins though. I didn't have them as bad as that. I don't have them winning here, but I still have them coming up to get 4 wins over the course of the season. Break down where that is in another day because we're running long. Ryan and Sean just text me saying to wait to come on. So Patriots and Pittsburgh's another game I really like this week. The Patriots are only laying 5. Patriots at home, week 1. I think they easily win here. Like they easily cover the 5.
Yeah, I picked the Patriots too. If you're going to get the Patriots, the first 4 weeks are the times to get them because the team's not the same after another month. So, but they're at home, Super Bowl champs, first game, night game for everyone to see against a rival. I'll pick the Patriots.
Yeah, another team of slow starters is the Saints. They haven't been good on week 1 in recent years, and this year they're laying 7 at home to the Texans.
I think they'll be okay in this one. Being home, Texans got a few new guys that have just signed, like offensive linemen, shit like that, running back. I don't think they'll be ready, so I would take the Saints, who've been together longer.
The Oakland Raiders versus the Denver Broncos is a pick'em game. Oakland are laying getting 1 point in some places, but it's basically a pick'em. There's a crazy stat on this where the home team always wins this game, or at least it has done in recent history. You see that changing?
No, I'm picking the Raiders in this game, actually.
I noticed that. What's the show? The reality show.
Yeah, the Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks, that's it. Yeah, the Oakland Raiders are on there this year with Gruden and all that.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, it has been. I'm taking them to win this. That'll be the last game of the week. So that's it. We've done our week 1 previews. Next week we'll be just covering the week 2. Obviously, we don't have to cover the futures bets again, and also we won't be bringing on guests to talk about the NFL. So next week we'll be strictly keeping it to week 2. It's a very, very NFL heavy show, and that brings us to our guests, because now we're going to bring in our guests. They work with me at the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Well, I work for them. They are the owners of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's Ryan Kramer and Sean Green.
What's happening, guys?
Cheers.
Oh, we're ready for football season, baby.
Oh, hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Oh my God, it's I feel like I hibernate up until football season. What are your? Let's start off with what teams do you guys root for?
Oh, I'm a huge Eagles fan, originally from outside of Philly, and Kramer, unfortunately, from Jersey, and
proud Giants fan.
Giants fan.
Oh, you're semi in my nightmare boat a little bit until last year. That Eagles thing really put a knife in me, but more so Parkey put a fucking knife in me because I'm a Bears fan.
Oh, man.
So,
sorry about that.
It's worse being friends with fucking Billy, who likes Green Bay, who's that makes no fucking sense at all. I'm like, unless you're from Wisconsin or have family from Wisconsin, you're not allowed to root for Green Bay. That's it.
I had to pick. I didn't know I would be getting this deep when I made the pick. I didn't know I'd be
You'll be a Giants. You'll be a Giants fan.
And the thing is, now I'm actually like traveling to states where there's the option to watch football. Where I'm in New York immediately after I meet you guys in Vegas. So I'm regularly in New York now. So I mean, if I were to reconsider it around what was local to me, and when you're in London, nothing's ever going to be local to you. You don't think, and you obviously don't know there's going to be games here as well. But yeah, I don't really know how to get to Wisconsin or how to go about it. But I should,
believe me,
I
you
should
don't
do it now.
fucking want to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't worry about it. You're
The
good stopping
Packers
in
are
New
the
York.
best thing there.
It's the only
I
fucking
mean, I
thing.
solely
there.
picked this team on. I solely picked this team on Favre. I liked Favre. I was like, oh, I like this guy, and that was it. That was how it was.
See, he's
I
got
came to
that
the decision.
spoiled, 20 years of like two of the greatest ever. But meanwhile, if you think about it, 2 Super Bowls after that long of the 2 greatest.
Oh, I'm suffering because I'm a Manchester United fan in soccer as well. So I'm suffering as well. But the thing is that at least they're not pussies, and they do play for 9 months of the year. And,
Yeah,
Oh,
I
man.
that's the
wish
thing.
it was
I
all
work.
you.
I work for you guys, but I actually end up producing more content on your feed than you do, which is the funniest thing because like I'm on there for 9-10 months of the year, but you guys have to wait sit out for 7 months to do your own show, which is crazy.
Sean is he's coming around to soccer. This time next year, he'll
God.
be excited for the EPL.
Don't do it.
Nah, it's probably not going to happen. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy it when I win money on it. So I won a ton of money on our women's
Oh yeah,
FIFA or whatever you call it, World Cup thing.
Billy's favorite.
I know Billy was not a Megan Rapinoe fan.
Oh, it was hard. It was hard to watch and hard to cover, even for me. I mean, there are other tournaments going on, but that one was getting most of the attention. And I'm glad that what kind of put a bow on it for me is that she didn't win the Women's World Player of the Year, because I figured that she won the Best Player at the World Cup, and I figured she was going to get that one as well because she does generate publicity for the game. But I think in the end they even decided that we don't need this because there's a negative backlash to her. Also, a video surfaced of some kid walking up to her for an autograph where she's not even looking at him. Did you see that one go viral?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that it's kind of established that she's a bit of an arse.
I was
So-
just mad at her because she's got a bigger dick than I do.
Yeah, she does have a pretty big dick.
Yeah, she's scary. I'm like, that's a sad thing. Over here, in the United States, nobody gives a shit about soccer. I mean, our World Cup team doesn't even qualify, where it's like, oh, I'll watch
No.
World Cup just to see, for that kind of thing, I'll watch. It's like the Olympics type of thing. I'll watch it then. And they're not even in it. So you go, well, all right, now what heritage do I have to pick? This is bullshit. So I'm like, yeah, great. The women are good. Who cares? I mean, I'd watch soccer over NASCAR, but that's about as far as it's going, probably.
Yeah,
So
I don't know where I have it in my rankings, but it's probably below baseball, honestly.
So in relation to obviously the podcast, I've been on there for I think I've been on there for over 5 years now. I started back in June 2014. How long was it going before that? Because I think I was listening to it for a good year or two before I came on board. So how long has it been on?
We started the second Giants Super Bowl run, so 2011.
Oh,
Jinx.
right, okay. And you haven't, and that's it. You haven't won since, have you? So
Well, we're working on it. One more for Eli, huh?
Oh my God, that is just so embarrassing that they're still starting Eli Manning.
he's not starting though, is he?
Yeah.
Now,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's starting.
I read something about that he wasn't going to be starting. So
Oh no, it's probably the smart move to not start him, but they're defying gravity and everything else and saying he's the guy. One more year.
So what do you
And-
think?
and-
What do you think
Sorry,
the
go on.
end record is going to be? Because I do a show on the side too, and I'm like, I went through all the records of everybody, and I have everybody's schedule, and I'm looking at, okay, what's everybody going to do, wins and losses, and I'm looking at the Giants. I got the Giants one right in front of me now, and out of the whole Giants thing, I literally see one win,
Yeah,
and
I love this.
and it's only because they're going to play a team that will have 0 wins, the Dolphins. So I'm like, I go, okay, well, they could beat the Lions, but it's in Detroit.
You don't have them winning the 2 Redskins games.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
well.
definitely not better than the Redskins. I had them going 4-12. Kramer, the diehard, optimistic, super drinking the Kool-Aid Giants fan, only got them up to 8-8.
No, they can sneak in as the
8-8.
wild card and they go on a run, baby.
See, and I'm not like a Giants hater or anything. I'm looking at things, like I go, okay, well, the Bucks. but it's like they're playing in Tampa, so that would sway me. You go, well, if it's a flip of a coin for me, I got to go home team, and I'm like, shit. There's a lot of those things. It's like, well, the Jets aren't as god awful anymore, and that's a rough one. I got the Eagles pretty high, but yeah,
Smart man over here.
I'm a realistic man. That's all.
Well, that's it. They got to keep that pussy quarterback fit though. That's the thing. Otherwise
That's
he's
true.
out.
Come on.
The main problem.
He is Fred. I heard he was Italian. He's Fred Gile, right?
This is great. I mean, it is true. He's only finished one season, Sean.
Yeah, well, the second season he didn't finish. They won a Super Bowl. So hey, whatever it takes.
Yeah, no shit. But this time there's no backup. I have him only losing 3 games though this year.
Yeah.
Wow. That's bad. I think that's bigger than Tom Green, huh, Sean?
He could be the new Andrew Luck. I mean, I wonder what's the over/under on the retirement age.
He does look like a guy who wants to go backpacking, enjoy some footy over in Australia.
No way. This dude loves the game.
And what even happened with that? Like, what was obviously with the coverage is not massive over here. I'm mainly following it on social media. There was obviously a few bits and pieces, but how big is that over there, and how does that even happen with a few weeks to go before? I mean, you guys, I saw stuff on Twitter because Sean and Ryan do preview podcasts. I think, have you guys obviously the season starts in 2 days, so you've completed all of your divisional reviews now that are available on the feed. But that one in particular, I saw little posts that were out beforehand showing little clips that you almost predicted this.
I mean, we certainly entertained the idea that he would miss another season because of the way it happened the first time. I mean, this is an organization that now twice has hidden the fact that their star player was not going to play to sell season tickets.
I mean, when we started hearing the craziness around that calf injury, it was raising a lot of red flags.
When he hadn't practiced for months and they were like, no, he's totally fine. He's totally going to be back. No worries.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, danger. There's a real chance he could miss a lot of the season.
I thought it was because they thought he was like Kevin Durant with the whole calf thing. After that, I thought that was like they're being just really cautious.
It was good. It was great for her because the bookies didn't react to it at all until people started hitting the line. So I was able to get the Texans at 2-1 for the division, and I also bet that -3 for the first game of the Chargers against the Colts. And that was
wow! So you got Chargers -3 right now.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, I got it on the announcement, and no, because we didn't move it. Like most of the bookies didn't move the line, and then the divisional odds moved from 13 to 10 now, but they were 2-1 Houston at the time because they were pretty much joint favorites with the Colts, and our bookies didn't move it to the morning until they saw loads of money coming in.
That's crazy.
So they didn't. Obviously, it's not the biggest sport over here. It's soccer, so they didn't move it reacting to the news. They obviously moved it reacting to the money. So it was a good thing to be awake for, because I'm always awake at these stupid hours, and that was one time where it actually benefited me quite good. So is there anything that you did on those on the over-unders? And I encourage guys to listen to as well, because there's 8 shows for the divisions, unless you did 2 whole shows for the East. So there's a breakdown of every division, and I believe you obviously picked the winners and then did the over/under as usual on every single one. But out of all of that, is there anything that you guys were really, really leaning towards in terms of seeing something that was way off?
I mean, I honestly, and it's relevant because we're talking to you. I'm going to be wearing a Jordy Nelson jersey live at Legacy Stadium, where we'll be Thursday night, and I will be all over this Packers team, because I think I'd have to go back and check the math, but they're definitely one of the teams I saw the biggest disparity on. So if you ask, gun to my head, the proverbial gun to the head, if I had to pick one total, it would probably be, I would throw out that Green Bay over, and I would give you Tennessee under.
Yeah, the one team that I was really high on, and I think Ryan was as well, was the Tampa Bay Bucks. Their win total is only 6.5. I think they're going to be a respectable team, so I really like the over there. Bruce Arians is a really good coach. They got some talent, and they have some winnable games. So I really like the Bucks over 6.5.
And not that it's actionable, but we both gave out at the time Jacksonville 5-1 to win that division. That's down to under 2-1, I believe. I think I saw plus 160. So, you should check out the rest of the shows because we're pretty on.
We still get it 2-1 here. I believe they are the second favorites now. I mean, the Colts have gone all the way from 2-1 to 6-1. So.
Yeah, and we bet. I had Jags at 5-1.
Yeah, we had them 5-1, which is it just that's a nice bet to have in the pocket right now.
Not complaining at all.
Do you think that quarterback situation is going to work out for him, and the defense is going to go back to what it was?
The working theory is that his giant dong gains the respect of the defense. Defense plays hard. Fournette's committed. Like everyone just respects. He's a proper alpha. Bortles was not an alpha.
He has a presence.
I looked at that, and I even beyond that, and thinking about that defense. I wondered why their total for week 1 was 52, because I immediately picked out to me. It was like, if this Jags defense is back to what it was, a 52 total in week 1 is, especially when people are rusty as well coming out the gate. That didn't seem right.
And a hurricane's passing by. Like that's the other part of it. It's going to be rainy and wet, and it just seems almost too obvious. To your point, the total just feels way high.
Yeah, and they the Jags gave the Chiefs a game last year in Kansas City. Blake Bortles threw a pick 6, and that kind of ended up being the difference. So if they cannot turn it over and put Kansas City in a great spot, I think they have a chance to hang with them.
They fixed that problem by shipping Bortles out to LA.
In relation to the show, obviously the week 1 preview comes out by the time this show goes out. So this goes out tomorrow simultaneously with yours. I do the EPL show where we give out a lock every week. So you guys do the lock dog teas. I do the lock dog parlay. How much pressure are you feeling for your first lock? Because I came off last year with 47-11 and started 0-2, and it was amazing in this new millennial era that we're in how forgetful people were. That I went 47-11 last year. 0-2, I was the shittest person that works on the entire podcast all of a sudden.
50% of my.
How much thought is going into, because I can relate big time that what must be happening in terms of this first lock that you guys are both going to put out, or do you just guys not give a fuck because it's not really what the show's about?
Well, I appreciate you getting the show, Billy. First of all, second of all, half of my texts with Billy is like basically telling him to ignore the haters and him not understanding why people don't like getting stone cold winners constantly. There's tons of pressure. I lost to a filthy Brit last year. No offense.
He's going to be wearing a Jordy Nelson jersey. So I think all the humiliation he's going to experience is going to be Thursday night at Legacy Stadium.
I mean, it's all about the regression. I'm going to regress this year. We all know that I've year after year
to defend you, like, because I listen to the show. Ryan's been consistently a plus money bet, like consistently in profit. All the way from when I started listening back in 2012. So this last year was the first year where his locks were at a negative number. And I'm always like backing them as well. When I started losing them, I entered a bet with him to motivate him to improve.
I like that.
But prior to that, he's always been above 500 easily, and Sean too. So. Just wanted to say that to defend you.
Sean, we pick every game. And that was actually when Billy reached out to us originally. That was his pitch. Hey, you guys have made me a lot of money betting on football. Let me help your audience make money betting on soccer.
Yeah, and he came in, what was it, that first year you did the World Cup and just went on a tear, man.
Yeah, I only did the World Cup back in 2014, and I think the EPL was introduced a few years later. We were just doing like major tournaments at that time. And initially I wasn't appearing too much. We did some shows that we don't do anymore. Like we tried WWE and stuff, but people didn't seem to want to win money on the wrestling. The thing is, the funny thing is the whole thing with
the one you should do. Shit, that's the guarantee.
Well, that's the thing. The whole thing with this man show that we're doing. We actually had this as a show on our wrestling feed, but you can't get any sponsors on it, even when we're doing numbers past 40,000. The sponsorship is low because we had wrestling in the title. So we just took this particular show out and moved it onto a new feed to see what happens with that. But yeah, wrestling's not good. It's not popular, even if you're winning money on it. But in terms of your numbers from that time, I don't want to go too much into detail with it, but just an obvious increase from where it's been in 2014. How much have you seen that like growth? And obviously, what's the spike this time of year?
Oh, it's insane. I mean, we're going out to Vegas and we're doing a live show, basically. That would be, I guess, the way to highlight the growth from where we were in 2014 when we were recording in like a half car garage.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at our team. We've grown. We got, besides all the podcasts and content Billy's doing, we got our boy Christian Pina doing Inside Vegas. Colby's got his college podcast going now. We got, I mean, literally, you go to the website.
That Pina gets more shit than all of us. Like, yeah, he gets bullied on Twitter. I thought I had it bad, and then I saw
he gets crushed. You're right.
He's a
controversy.
He's got a lot of followers, and then he gets some heat. But yeah, you just look at the number of writers we have on our show now, or if you go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com, there's just a ton of blog posts and content, and all of it's free. So it's been awesome to be able to grow this thing. And yeah, we've seen just a steady growth each year. Football is crazy because it's like our football numbers are one thing, and then the rest of the season we're still doing solid. But yeah, I mean, football really ramps things up.
It's 2 seasons, football season and everything else season.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's hilarious when you speak about the writing stuff, because I actually my son was doing some stuff for school, and I didn't like the way the stuff was written. And he goes, "Oh, this is our teacher tells us to be descriptive about this." I said, "Yeah, you have to be descriptive about things that are relevant or people want to read with." He goes, "Oh, this is how I've been told to do it." And I went, "Well, tell him your dad's a writer." And
you're so yeah. I'm writing for a prestigious website, the sportsgamblingpodcast.com.
Exactly. So thanks for that, because that's giving me the clout to turn around to him to go.
Don't
back
have
to
him
school
tell
and
her what else you do. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't bring up anything else.
He's got
bring
a
up
couple
anything
jobs.
in the past. Yeah. But dad's a writer now, so he can go back to school and say, well, actually, my dad's a writer. He works on this site. So you may be getting some school teacher in Essex, England, like checking out your content just to see what I do at some point.
Good paragraph structure and yeah, pretty solid.
So things have moved up for you and for you guys, and Sean in particular. Like, I was looking through, obviously, because you guys were coming on the guest. I didn't realize you had actually done so. I mean, I'm seeing you now popping up on doing more and more shows on the comedy front. But I looked at everything that you've like done up until this point. How in relation to obviously the podcast, I had a question that I was actually going to ask that I've never asked before, because we do the show with Cav, and obviously we get comments and say, "Oh, you guys are this show's great," or "You guys are funny here," and whatnot. But what's the difference really between sort of just being funny around your mates, or being funny with a podcast, or like obviously preparing to put in jokes, or being quick? Just being quick in a situation, as opposed to going up there and doing a whole stand-up set. Like, you know what I mean in terms of how people go, "Oh, he's funny," or "He's funny" generally, and then obviously converting that into actually performing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with a podcast or with your friends, generally, if they're listening to you at the time, they already like you. Stand-up comedy, you have to go up there and kind of prove yourself instantly to the audience. And then there's a whole different pace and cadence to doing stand-up, and it's just a whole different beast as far as really the pace and the cadence is the biggest difference, and just to be able to command people's attention. There's a number of people that are in stand-up that they have a good routine, they know how to be a performer, but then they're horrifically unfunny off stage. They're just like some weird person, or they wrote a bunch of funny jokes and have a good stage presence. So sometimes there's a correlation between being funny on stage and off stage, but not necessarily.
Usually it's pretty opposite.
What's that? Sorry.
Usually it's pretty opposite. Usually it's like you hear people are, "Oh my God, this guy's funny as hell backstage," but then gets in front of the camera and it's like, where's that person?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always thought that because a lot of people, when we get comments, a lot of people say that about Cav going out and doing more because he does a show called the Wrestlinga Show, which is very funny. But then obviously, then people always turn around and go, you should do this or you should do that. But I honestly feel there's a big difference between just being funny around your mates or being funny on the radio as such, as opposed to going up there and doing it. And how much also would you say is down to, percentage wise, is down to A, the material you have in front of you, and then B, the actual performance and being able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the materials maybe like I would say only 25%, and then the rest is kind of just the
Delivery.
Yeah, the delivery, the timing of it, the performance. Timing is really as simple as it sounds. It really is the difference between a joke working and a joke not working. And an audience is much like a dog in the same way that they can smell fear. If you go up there and they can tell you're nervous or they sense any lack in confidence, then they're just not going to be into it. Unless that's kind of your character or your persona. But for the most part, you really just have to go up there and completely own it.
How does that how does that relate to the show in terms of, do you find it like, what do you think's helped more? Like the growth of the comedies help the growth of the podcast, or the growth of the podcasters help the growth in the comedy?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's they kind of work together. I wouldn't say one necessarily serves more of the other. I definitely having the podcast has helped when I do travel around and stuff. People that have heard the podcast come out and like, hey, come out and check out the show and stuff, because like, let's say I'm doing a show in San Jose. If I hadn't played there before or don't have any way of really promoting well there, no one's really going to hear me. But if we mention the dates on the podcast, get a handful of people out there. So yeah, it's really helpful in that sense.
Do you get obviously you're obviously in a relationship, right? Because I know you guys personally, but do you get like the more sort of your face goes up and around as you're doing more and more stuff? And I got your bio here and I can reel off a list and not, but it pretty much speaks for itself. You guys want to look shorn up, but do you find that like there's just a massive increase in terms of like those sort of women that latch onto you as you grow? Because obviously, from what I've done in my past, I've seen that. I've seen stages of you're on TV and whatnot, and then it just massively increases, or you're in magazines or whatever, and then there's clear drop-offs, and every girl will turn around and tell you, oh, it's nothing to do with this. It's like, but it's like, but it's not, because the increase, my inbox is pretty full once I do something.
Well, at least my experience with women like a guy who's got something going on. Whether it's you're the best skateboarder in the group of skateboarders, or you're the funniest guy at the comedy club, or you're the guy with the corner office, whatever situation, and you're kind of looking to be the top dog, or you're coming off as like, oh, he's different, he's special. Women really don't know what they want, but if they see like, oh, this guy's getting a lot of attention, a lot of people are looking at him, he must be important, that triggers something in their brain that go, oh, I better have sex with him. Everyone else likes this guy, I better fuck this guy. That's generally how it works. So I think fame works that same way, where, oh, this guy's famous, he must be really a good provider. So it triggers something that turns women on, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's the year after My Big Brother, there was a half-blind albino that went in after me, and he was getting laid all the time. So I would see him take models home all the time, and they
couldn't see it.
Fuck. What's that?
But he couldn't see them.
It's funny. He actually did a cameo on one of my porn series, which I'll send you guys.
Did he
a
know?
link to or something. So, well, there was I got given a series to present. It was like a Big Brother parody. It was pretending that girls had to fuck to get in the house, and I was the presenter.
Pretending.
Yeah,
because that didn't happen normally.
And in every episode, an old housemate from the past would make a cameo appearance to pretend that he was involved in this scheme in me. So this guy turns up and was just like, "Oh, dude, I need to get blown." I said, "I can't get you blown on set." I said, "There's the executives are here. I'm not really in charge. I'm just the face that's pretending that this is my show. Like I'm just here for the publicity." So I said anything you want to do, they have to film. He goes, oh, I don't care. He goes, I'm going to have a rap deal at some point. Like my agent's talking about me being a rapper and all this. He goes, it's good. It won't do me any harm. So in the end, we end up talking to the execs of TVX that are there, and this guy ends up getting a blowjob on camera for the usual daily rate of they were only getting £400 each to appear, which is now only $500. And that's it. He did that, and he's all over the papers and everything. And then I don't think there was any rap deal or anything for him after that.
Before he was paying $500, now he's getting paid $500.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm sure before he did the show, he was paying for sex. Jesus. Anyway, there couldn't have been no other way.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He's different. He's special. He's an albino reality TV star. Chicks are like, maybe he's got something going on.
He was American too. He was an American half-blind albino. I don't even where they found this guy, but yeah, he was a perfect candidate for that show. Getting back to football, because we've just gone off it slightly. Slightly. Did you guys have an overall bracket in terms? I know it's way in January, and loads of things can change just based on injuries. Like for example, if you have Eagles going all the way and when it wins inevitably.
So
gets
who's
injured.
the AFC Championship game, NFC Championship game, and who's going to the Super Bowl and who's going to win for you guys?
Yeah, but and also is there anything in between where you have anybody going on some crazy run that we're not supposed to see there?
Dare we say tune in Wednesday when we reveal all of these things?
Are you doing it on that show?
Well, yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a little kind of final recap of our season props we like, and then kind of walk you through our playoffs.
I'll throw you out all the division winners that I got. AFC North, I have the Steelers winning that at plus 190. For the NFC
so that's
South,
interesting because you're not on board with this whole the Browns are going to be amazing now.
No, that's a little.
Not.
Well, it's going to be weird because I do kind of like Cleveland week 1, and I think that'll just raise the hype even more. But I think whenever you can, you want to fade the hype. NFC South, huge upset pick. Kramer and I both said throw a little action there on the Bucks.
We agreed a lot, I think.
At plus 850 to win the NFC South. It's a crazy pick.
So you're going against my overall winner there because I think I feel like the Saints will do it this year.
Yeah. I mean, I always feel like you got to throw one. You got to throw one wild card in there for AFC South. I have the Jags pulling it out. Kramer has the who do you have, Kramer? Well, you had the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of a bet, I'll take the Jags.
Yeah, the Jags. AFC West. I had that one I kept it chalky. I went.
KC wins that.
Yeah, KC wins, but I did make a case for the Broncos being better than people thought, and their defense is going to be good.
They're not going to suck.
NFC West.
You don't like the Chargers this year?
I do, but then they're missing their left tackle.
They're snake bitten, dude.
Derwin James got his foot injured.
Melvin Gordon's holding out.
They'll probably still be solid, but the Chiefs are just too good right now. NFC West, I really like the Seahawks, and this was before the Clowney trade. I had them going 11-5 and winning the division at plus 300. Kramer, I think you're.
Yeah, we both had them to win the division.
AFC East, just Jesus Christ, it's going to be the Pats. Yeah, I don't think you can make a case for anything else.
No, not when the team's minus 500. No.
What did we have for the NFC North? Did you also have the Packers?
NFC North, yeah. We all talked ourselves into the Packers. All
right, nice talking to you guys. See you later. Everyone's in love with that bullshit. Did you see Sports Illustrated? Did you see what they put? I said all credibility was out the window when I read Sports Illustrated today with their picks.
What did they say, Carl?
Well, here's the first thing. I go, okay, let's see who they did. Packers or Bears first and second. That's because that's what everyone's saying. I flipped it open to a page, and I see Packers number 2, and I go, oh, good. I flipped the page, and they have the Vikings number 1, and I go, are you kidding me? I turn the page again, and they have Detroit third. I go, I'm done. They have the Bears last place. Go fuck yourselves.
Well, I'm reading. I don't know how credit I get this book every year. Lindy Sports Americans Leading Authority Football Preview. I get this every year. They got us 4th, so they
Jesus.
got Detroit above us. Yeah,
See, that's
Yeah, I mean,
retarded too.
they're saying we're a
I
complete
think
mess.
honestly, my strongest opinion in the division though is under Vikings. I mean, Kirk Cousins is dog shit.
Yeah.
So
Well, how many games has he had on TV?
A lot.
Yeah.
He's got enough.
they got some primetime games.
It's at least 3. That's 3
Right, okay.
losses right there.
It'd be,
And then
it'd be-
NFC East, no surprise here.
Do you
no
got
surprise
Eagles?
here,
I think,
NFC East.
I think
I got the
everybody. I think everybody's gone Eagles. I think anyway. That's quite. Well, what did Ryan do?
But Kirk Cousins 4 primetime games for those keeping
Right.
track at home. So that's 4 losses right
he's
there.
done.
I'm sorry, 5 primetime games.
Oh my God, 5 losses right there.
I also have the Eagles winning the division. Nothing. There's no possible way the Eagles don't win this division. I just don't
Well,
see it.
Wentz gets hurt.
There's no way Wentz will get hurt this year.
Really?
Absolutely no way. No way.
Oh God.
Well, if he does, Josh McCown can come in and steer
Yeah.
the ship.
I'm stirring up as much jinx juice as I
got
can.
you. There you go. Good. Because I was gonna say people are breathing next to him, so that might be might.
He's very fragile. North Dakota strong apparently means very fragile.
No, I was gonna say I thought
What
Wentz was an Italian name. I'm telling you.
do you think the chances that Foles is playing in January again and Wentz isn't?
Oh,
God.
Oh wow.
We should all root for that just for the fun.
Sean, this is a great poll question. Who is playing games later in the season, Nick Foles or Carson Wentz?
Well, if you look at the win total, certainly you would have to give the edge to the Eagles. But I mean, I also like the Jacks.
Injury though.
You
The
have
injury-
to put that as a note. Injury as well. Remember that.
Yeah.
That helps.
Well, usually that's how it works in the NFL. If things happened last year, it means they're definitely going to happen this
Yep.
year. Things
Here
never
we go,
change
Sean.
in the National Football League.
It's funny they don't. Anyway,
All right. So what's the guys? What's our guys' plans for this week? Because obviously you're heading out there. I'll just take my itinerary now on my own show. It's funny texting Ryan. It's like, yeah, we're going to be here and we're going to be there or thereabouts, but there's actually no exact plan or anything. The only thing that I know, the only letdown that I have is that the one fucking week that I'm there, Carrot Top's taking a break. So I was looking forward to that. So now I have even more free time.
You got Penn and Teller. You can go see that.
here's the thing
No,
with
it's Carrot Top's the show. Honestly, I don't know if you guys have gone.
This
out
is the
and seen it.
funniest thing you've ever said. Billy. This is the funniest. Here's the thing with Vegas, Billy. You don't need you don't want to have plans. You're just gonna kind of meander throughout. We will be at Legacy Stadium. We're doing a live show over there. Going to be hanging out afterwards. So if you're a listener, you
What
want to
day
come
is
by.
that? Is that
That's
the Thursday?
Thursday.
Thursday
That's
night.
for the Packers game. I will be donning the Jordy Nelson jersey.
But it's a Raider
And then
jersey.
oh no, it's a Packers jersey. It's a beautiful, beautiful. Back when him and Aaron Rodgers were lovers.
Back when. I think it's
Well,
still
you're
undercover.
right. You're right. They still are on the down low.
Well,
And then-
I'll be landing and coming straight to that then. Like,
Perfect.
I mean, I'm flying the day after a fucking colonoscopy endoscopy today, which I had today, which they sent me the letter for a week before I schedule in to do this show. So I'm feeling really good now, waking up to that. I have to sit on a
Donut.
I have to sit on a seat to Vegas for 13 hours with an arse
Christ.
with my arse that just. I took 75 shits yesterday on the laxatives before the colonoscopy could happen, so I can't even sit down. But I have to have a 13-hour flight before I come and arrive and meet you guys, which would be fun. So we better fucking win the game at least.
I hope it's even more miserable.
Sunday we'll be watching games over at the Westgate, the Superbook.
Westgate Superbook, Football Central. We got 2 booths reserved, so Billy, come hang.
I've got a hotel room there now. That's where I ended up staying.
Oh,
I did
awesome.
get that information from Kramer. So
are you saying I'm difficult to communicate with? How dare you?
You sound like his lady friend.
Oh, here we go. All right, we got to go.
no, I'm just weird when I travel out to the States. When I meet people out there, it's always like, well, so what are we doing what's my plan for Thursday? What time do I need to be here on Friday? Like, what are we doing on Saturday? It's kind of like laid out like that, but obviously it's Vegas, so it doesn't need to be it doesn't
Here's
need
my
to be structured
plan.
on
I'm
that
going to
way.
be eating edibles and wandering around Vegas for 4 days. So
That's the thing.
come check me out.
We've done Vegas so many times. If you come in with an itinerary, it's just completely worthless.
You're just going to be
because
stressed.
you get distracted or something happens. You got to just be completely wide open, have like 1 or 2 loose plans.
Just know that you're going to watch football. Like that's the plan.
Well, that's the other thing. I was wondering if we're going to watch if we're going to get our eyes on the Khabib fight as well, and if that's a big deal, because the fight's not in Vegas. They're actually having it in Saudi Arabia, but it's a massive fight on Saturday.
Yeah,
I don't even know what the time difference is between Vegas and Saudi Arabia. I now need to work out a new time
shit.
difference.
Might be in the middle of the day.
I'm going to help you
Maybe I'll
guys.
get Pina out to watch that one.
I'm going to help you guys
Yeah, I'll
get off this show because I know you're running late on your time. So hit your plug, and we'll let you go.
Make sure to check us out, Sports Gambling Podcast on iTunes, and make sure you also subscribe to the Sports Gambling Podcast Network to get Billy's EPL show, the fight show, and sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Tons of articles, podcasts. As always, it's all free.
Yeah, and I can vouch for you guys. Generally, like most weeks, you will win money, because otherwise, I mean, before I was on there, I listened to it for 2 years and came on, and it was solely for financial gain, and financial gain was. But these guys won't come on and tell you, won't tout themselves and say that you're guaranteed to make any money, but you pretty much are. I think Kramer's year last year was an outlier, and he failed and he failed so badly that I just don't even think it's possible to do that badly again. So I think it's just pretty much, it's almost guaranteed that he's going to make money this year, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
My failure was impressive, Sean.
Indeed. Thanks for having us.
I always say that to people. I always say, like, just back. It's best to come in and back me off a loss, because that's always the time. When the people are putting out these trends of like, oh, I've won my last 8. It's like, well, I'm not getting on now.
Yeah, I've already missed the boat.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah, I will let you guys go, and I will see you in a couple of days.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Billy.
Looking forward to it, Billy.
Good talking to you guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Cal.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good conversation, Billy, with your boys.
Yeah, I thought that would be good for the first show. I mean,
They couldn't
We
give
wanna
their
keep
picks, though. They couldn't give the finals because they got
want
their
you to go
own.
over
Yeah.
to listen. They want you to go over and listen to the show, which is the right thing to do. But yeah, I think it's a good way to start out, because episode 1 we've gone NFL heavy here, done our preview here. There'll be plenty of time to bring on the porn stars and review movies and all that kind
Sure.
of stuff. It's not always going to be an NFL heavy show, but for fuck's sake, it's week 1 of the NFL
Well,
season.
yeah,
You
it's
need
going to
get
be NFL each of the weeks that we're doing NFL. Of course, we'll do our pick'ems and stuff like that, and just anything else that's going on in sports that we're both watching and suffering through, like my fucking Mets game tonight. But that's a different fucking story. These assholes. But yeah, we'll be talking about women, talking about sports, talking about video games, whatever the hell, it's guy shit. So that's pretty much what you're gonna get on this show. A bunch of nonsense, and also shit that's like going on with us daily. If something happens to Billy where he's with a woman, he's gonna tell a story, or just normal shit. Next week, I'll be telling you stories about me going to the fucking Sasquatch fucking farm. So be tuned in next week to hear all of that action, as you heard earlier in the show, me talking about. That's it, Billy. I guess we're done. That's our first ever man show.
Yeah, just to finish out, I don't think they plugged everything that they need to plug there. They're over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. My content's over there as well on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. The Twitter for that is at the SGP Network. Their Twitter is at Gambling Podcast. If you want to follow Sean, he's at Sean Green, I think, on Twitter. I'm going to have a look at that now. Just to look at what he's done thus far. Projects he's done is livevideo.com, National Lampoon Radio, LATalkRadio.com, Comedy Nation, Spike TV, a set list at Comedy Central stages. He's been at the Montreal Comedy Festival, recently acted in Def Jam recording. So, I mean, he's done tons of stuff. He gives his NFL picks for a column on MTV's Guy Code, and obviously co-hosts the Sports Gambling Podcast along with Ryan. I think Ryan is the main guy in charge of that, although they do it together. I run everything by Ryan each week. So, yeah, definitely lots going on from those guys. His Twitter is at Sean T Green. So if you want to follow him there. So I think I've plugged everything for the guys that they didn't fully come out and do. But there'll be NFL on here every week. But as I said, our usual bullshit will introduce its way back on the show. Obviously, as I said at the top of the show, if you guys are familiar with us from Wrestling Therapy, it will be that kind of show minus the wrestling, because there's plenty of that still available on the day sheets. So we'll close out. That's it from me. That's it from Cav. Thanks to Sean and Ryan of the Sports Gambling Podcast for coming in. We'll see you next week for episode 2 of The Man Show.
Go Bears.